Guys, welcome back to another episode of the League Crawler podcast. Today we have a very, very fun episode planned, but let's get into some news right away. League Crawler, Matt, he's announced that we are going to have a graphics contest. Now, what is a graphics contest? Now, a lot of people have asked, like, hey, how do we do this? What do we got going on? I'm going to read through the page so that you guys can see it, but if you want to go have a detailed look at this, head over to leaguecrawler.com. It's one of the newest articles up on the site, but here's how it works. You're going to have to be registered for the site. That's the number one thing you got to do. You got to be registered. Once you get over to the site, get that done first, head over under contests and look and I just got lost here on my page. Head over to their forums, look at contests, and then go over to graphic design contest for March of 2021. Now, here's some questions that were asked. Why are we doing it? We want to have fun and we want to promote your content. We want to promote the channel. We want to promote the podcast. We want to promote it all. So everyone kind of gets something out of this. What is the prize? Well, the prize is going to be, since this is the first time we're doing this, we're offering bragging rights and we're going to put some promotions out for your league as a prize. So if you do something, you win, we're going to give you a spot on the League Crawler website so that you are promoted, your league is promoted, send all that stuff in. How long will the contest last? You have until March 10th to reply into that forum to get your graphic in. If it's not in by March 10th, which is a Wednesday, it's not going in. Can I enter a graphic from multiple leagues I'm in? Yes, but only one per league. So if you are in multiple leagues, you only get to enter one per league. Someone entered a submission under my league's name, but I didn't authorize it. I don't want to be involved, etc. Okay, we will remove your submission from the contest. All you got to do is reach out to Matt. If you have any questions, that is the guy to go to. If you have any other questions, I'm sure they're answered on the site. So head over to leaguecrawler.com and look over the Madden graphic design contest. Some other news that we had, if you haven't had a chance to check out the podcast from last week, guys, I highly recommend to do so. Not because I was good in it. I did not matter. But Brian over at SCFSL was amazing. They have an access league, which is not Madden. It is not a game that has incredible graphics, but they are doing some incredible things. They have completely created teams. They have 500 plus guys a part of this league. They all control a user. They're not even controlling somebody on the field. They're able to kind of let their character grow how they want their guy to grow. They're drafted to a team. They can be traded. It's incredible stuff they're doing over there at Access. Make sure to check that out. Another thing that League Crawler has going on right now, guys, is shooters. If you are into games like Call of Duty, I believe it's Apex or whatever the other leagues are called or whatever the other games are called. I'm not big into shooters. If you guys are into those games, we are going to have some things coming up. There's even talk at some point that we might even have some pretty cool shows centered around Call of Duty come April. So be tuned for those. If you're somebody that likes those, check some of those shooters out. Also, if you go over to the Discord channel, I want to give Chef, a guy over there that's doing some video highlights of his shooters. Check out some of those shooters, man. I was blown away by how this dude was running around, sliding, jumping all over the place, headshots. It is crazy. So shout out to Chef. I know that they're looking for some teams to put together over for the League Crawler. I know there were some tournaments being talked about. Go over there, over to Discord, check some of that stuff out. It's incredible stuff. Also, there's an article out right now at the League Crawler website that talks about Snipes TV being one of the best streamers on the league scene. I have not had a chance to check out Snipes TV, but I have heard some incredible things. If you guys get a chance to do that, I know that I just went and subscribed. He didn't have anything going when I did it, but get over there, check him out. I want to see what everyone's talking about. It sounds like some really cool stuff. Having said all of that, there's also one other thing that Matt and me just discussed, and that is we are looking for content creators. If you are somebody that you're like, yo, I put a ton of time, a ton of investment into my stuff, I just want people to see my stuff, well, League Crawler has some cool things coming your way. And one of the things we'd like to do is we'd like to start partnering with some of you to increase and generate energy for your brands, videos, content, and more. There will be more details coming on how you can become that League Crawler team. We are not asking you to stop what you're doing and just do League Crawler content. But if we can find a way for you guys to get views, for us to get a shout out for the site, I mean, if we can find a win-win, we're going to be looking through some avenues to see if we can work together and come up with a cohesive plan. Having said all of that, this week we have an incredible guest. When the podcast with Shotmaster came out, one of the first people to comment was a guy named MaddensPlayerz, or MP. He's commissioner of the leagues that house guys like TJ Barrett, other top pros. We're going to get into some of that. MP, welcome to the show. How are you doing tonight, buddy?
I'm doing good, man. I'm doing good.
Man, I appreciate you reaching out and saying that you wanted to do this. I know that we had some struggles getting into last week, but I'm really excited to get into this week. How are you feeling about the game of Madden? Where are you at with this version?
I'm feeling really good. I know there's a lot of people that come out and say negative things, other sides say positive things. I've always been more on the positive side just because I enjoy all the content you can create out of just, a simple game of Madden.
Mm-hmm. When you look at some of your frustrations, because I know, man, I've been on your Twitter. I know that some of the things going on is frustrating. Where are you at currently with some of these tournaments that you've been doing? What is this scene looking like? Where are you trying to go right now?
So pretty much a lot of my frustration, I've been in we'll say the streaming game or the content creation game, whatever you want to call it, for a long time. I've always had a YouTube. Once Twitch became about, I always got on. And pretty much I always just wanted people to see how fun Madden can be, even with the frustrating time, and like you mentioned, I went through frustration this last week because when they announced the Madden Classic, I was like, hey, I'm going to give it a try. I'm an old head. I've never not made a leaderboard that was that big. But, this year we ended up not making it, and it kind of affected me a little bit. And I had to, take a step back for a bit and see what I wanted to do with the game and where we're going with it. So that's pretty much was the frustration of the Classic. We didn't get in, but, we got the challenge to look forward to on the competitive side.
Now, MP, I got to ask you something, because as somebody that I've only ever participated in franchise mode, I'm commissioner of my own league. I don't know anything other than that scene. Can you kind of fill me in on what the Classic even is? Like, what is this?
Yeah, so it's funny because I've actually just recently got into like the different modes that they have. Normally, a lot of the stuff is on MUT, but the Classic, what's great about the Classic is its regulations. It's just regs. So, a lot of people say, oh, I'd be good at Madden if it wasn't MUT, if it was regs. And what the Classic does is that brings it to life is, okay, bring your regs team and let's see the best you got. And, no excuses. Either, you can win or you can't because it's regs. It's not a money spent creation. It's just regs.
Right. And so are there places that you can go to watch some of this stuff? Like, are there tournaments? Like,
so
how can I?
Yeah, there's tournaments always popping on. On Twitter, I follow a lot of the top people like Dubby. I follow PK, Pittsburgh Knights always does tournaments. They have like their 3v3 going on. I follow Mutthead because I know some of their creators. They do tournaments every week on that side. And pretty much Twitter recently seemed to get some things going on. I know Butterfly or Battlefly is the place where they register for the EA events right now, though.
Okay, so Battlefly, and that's a website, battlefly.com. Is that something that's on Twitter at Battlefly?
Yeah, if they follow Madden Direct will post a lot of the links. And it's battlefly.com. You just follow the EA events and they post them. I think right now they have draft champions going on, which is an interesting mode in itself.
Now, this year, I know you said in the past you ran a lot of Madden leagues. This has not been something you did this year due to your job, but you've also been doing a lot of this other stuff. When I go onto your Twitch and I go onto your YouTube and stuff, I see a lot of not a lot of, but it's more MUT, it's more playing head to head, it's more it's no franchise stuff. So what made you go from I'm going to do all of these things where I'm having these pro players come in and be in my leagues to I'm not doing this at all. I don't want any part of these leagues.
So honestly, it was really the time restraints. Like whenever I would put on a league or do a league, I always told myself I always want to make sure it was the best, that it was ran correctly. Because leagues, there's thousands of leagues. Like there's tons of them, and some users get stuck on bad ones, some get stuck on good ones, and it just depends where you follow. And I've always wanted to be the one that I felt was like the best. You come to my league, you're gonna make sure you get a game, you're gonna make sure you play. I developed ways where you could play for free, or if you wanted to put money on it. I developed and learned how to get people in that wanted to be in for their reason and make everything mesh. And right now I drive about 2 hours every day for work. So being that I can't run the league the way that I wanted to run it, I was like, well, let me just take a year off, try and see if I can make make a major again. And that's pretty much what we focused on this year. But I am happy to see a lot of the upgrades and updates that they've done with the CFMs, because I always keep current with it. It's actually stuff that we've always wanted in there. So it's funny, the 1 year I take off is the 1 year they add a lot of the stuff I've always wanted.
Yeah, they're starting to add more and more. And then there was a video that dropped today showing that next year they may have coordinators, and those may actually play a part in the game. So I know that the EA has heard the outcries of the franchise community, and they're looking at making some adjustments. So it's always good to see them doing some big things over there, because as a franchise guy, I'd love to have a more realistic feature.
Yeah, exactly. Yes.
Now, talking about leagues, I'm from where I joined my leagues from very originally was looking at sim leagues, right? Looking at what you did with pro players. I know that pro players don't typically play a sim game. What kind of leagues, or what were some of the things that you did when you were creating your leagues to get some of these guys over to play with you?
So that's actually a very, very good question, because that's what I learned is when I first played, I was actually a pro. So I got into a league and they were like, yo, you can't go for it on fourth. You can't do this. I'm like, what? Like, I had to learn what they were talking about, like what they meant with sim. So what I did is I didn't fully like sim, and I didn't fully like you can go for it whenever, because a lot of people quit that way. So
Right.
I developed a way where on defense, you could just pick whatever you want. Doesn't matter. You can pick the same play over and over. But on offense, you got to switch it up, because I learned throughout the time that you could find more offensive plays to beat one defense than the reverse. And so a lot of people picked up on that, like it's kind of sim, but it's also still letting you do what you wanted to do without, being too crazy. Because I know there's a lot of plays on defense now, but back in 2013 and 14, you pretty much either had cover 3 or cover 4. There wasn't much of a difference.
Right.
So I just kind of learned what they wanted, and listened to everyone, kind of implemented it along the way. And I made sure everyone had a voice. Like, I know a lot of people have commissioners, like they run it and they have like 2 additional people. I never did that. I did everything myself. I made the trade was always voted on by everyone in the league, so it was never just me. So my leagues were always like, you have a voice if you want it, but if you don't, you were never penalized. So I think that's what gravitated them, is because they could come over and try different plays and see different stuff without getting into full sim mode, but also, still having it where people would punt on 4th down if they weren't across the 50,
Got you. Now, I am somebody that I go on to YouTube. I check out some of these content creators. You mentioned that you had TD Barrett in your league. That's somebody that I've gone out and I've checked some of the stuff. Now, I've got a question for you. When I go out and check some of what TD does on his stuff, I know that he's getting a lot of W's. But you're a behind-the-scenes kind of guy, because as the commissioner for these leagues, you can legitimately tell us who the best of the best is. So in your time as a commissioner, who would you say is the best guy you've encountered?
You know what's funny is TD Davis is the only person that ever went 2 seasons without losing in my league. And he had to be young. He had to be young at the time, because this was like 2014, I want to say, or 13. One of those is the one he was in. And he was the Titans, and he won every single game in my league.
Wow.
And he was the only person that did that. And I had Shotmaster was actually in one of my leagues a long time ago. He might not remember because he's in a lot of stuff. But he was in one of my leagues, and he never even did that. So I would have to say TD Davis, or not TD Davis, TD Barrett. Sorry about that. Their names are so similar. TD Barrett. Right. Is the only one that's ever gone, 2 seasons undefeated, won the whole prize money at the time, which back then it was $100 we gave for free, which was a lot for Madden back in the day.
Yeah.
And stuff. So, I mean, it was free to join the league, and he just came and won, and that's how I got to know him. And what's funny is, we kind of branched out ways, and I think I saw him 2 years ago on Facebook streaming. I said hi, and he was like, he still remembered me and everything.
No, that's what's up.
Definitely glad to see he's doing big things now, So.
Yeah, he is. He's very popular amongst a lot of the Madden community. But I want to get into you, man, because you're a very interesting cat to me. I see you out on Twitter. I see you working hard for your stuff, man. I believe in the phrase "real recognize real," right? And I know that you really care about the stuff that you're putting out there. And that to me was the reason that when we talked about doing this interview, I was like, yeah, get him on. I want to hear what he has to say, because passion to me is something that you just can't teach somebody.
Yeah.
Where are you at with your drive in this game? What are your goals when you see MP future with the Madden community?
So basically, what I wanted to do is, like, I want to bring a lot of the positivity in when I stream. Like, no matter what content I stream, because I can stream anything. Like, it could be MUT, regs, whatever. But I want people, when they come to the channel, to feel the excitement, to feel like, I'm older than a lot of streamers. I'm 34. I'm getting up there. But just to let people know, this game can be fun. You can win in different modes. You can have fun, and that's what I want to see. Is you'll see a lot of the top streamers. A lot of the top ones will only stream MUT because they believe that's what brings them the most people. But when I go to streams, I like to view the person. So, like, I don't care what mode a person's playing, but if I say hi or I say what's up, I like them to react. What I've always wanted to accomplish, and you kind of mentioned this on the news stuff, is I want to get with someone or an organization and create something every week, like every morning, have like a tournament, or get with leagues and have like rival games Saturday mornings, and become more of like a Nick Pizesco kind of figure, if you will. Like, I like to announce games, talk about them, get to know the players. And it's funny that you mentioned Snipes streams, because I've actually stopped by his streams and what he does, and that's pretty much exactly what I want to do. Around certain content, is be that where you can go into different leagues and just be their commentator and bring the fun. So pretty much to answer the question going forward, whenever I stream or whatever I do, whether it's a CFM game, whether it's a pro game, whatever, I want everyone to go to channels that they don't know and just enjoy the content that's there, instead of the same people that get recognized all the time.
Now, going over to some of your stuff, man, I mean, you got a Twitter following of like 900 plus people. When you come over here to your YouTube, you got you got like 4,000 something subscribers over there.
Yeah, YouTube's where I got discovered.
How can people in today's age, with so much more of it, how can they get started? Like, yeah, I know that you have you have the goals that you want to hit, but how do you hit those things? Like, what is the process?
So one thing I've actually just learned this year is you got to be consistent. Like, you can't be making videos once a month saying, oh man, why is no one watching my stuff? Or, why is no one coming over when I stream only 2 hours a week? You got to make sure that when you're streaming or when you make the content, that it's really you, that you're not trying to be like someone else. Because a lot of the time, I'll watch someone stream or anyone and be like, oh, I like what they did there, I'm going to use that. But what I've learned is, if you want to make this your content and your stuff, you really have to be you, and you really have to be consistent. Get them up 3 or 4 times a week. Like right now, I can't post every day because of my work schedule. But on the weekend, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, I make sure I'm going to get up the content. I like to get reactions. People, what do you want to see? Did you like that? No, and be sure One thing that I've definitely learned is accept negative criticism, because a lot of people, they'll read the comments and someone will be negative and they'll just delete them. Sometimes it's okay to listen to the people that are telling you what's wrong, because that will help you improve. So if you're starting out, just keep doing it. The views will come, the content, will get better. You just got to learn what your personal content is compared to someone else. Why does someone want to watch you instead of the other people? That's pretty much the number one thing you got to learn to get more views and get out there in the community.
Now, I went over to some of your Twitch stuff today, and you're 100% right. When you log in over at your Twitch, you're going to see a lot of positivity. You're over there singing some songs, dancing around to some of your stuff, man. Like, I was totally into it. I totally vibed with it. When you go over to your YouTube, though, it's a little bit different, because on YouTube, you're able to be a little bit more personal. There's not as much gaming, and there's more of I mean, the way that you even talk it's MP turned up, it's MP uncensored.
Yeah.
We got MP crib, which we're gonna get into here in a little bit. What is the difference in your channel, and why do you do things differently for them?
So I pretty much did a lot of the stuff differently recently because we got featured on a lot of stuff with EA. I was on Derwin and stuff, and I had a lot of people come over to my channel that I've never seen before, and I started doing other interviews that people I've never heard of, and then they just started like thinking that I was, for a better quote, like a Disney person, that I just kind of did what people wanted. And I wanted people to show like, no, there's a different side to me when I'm not streaming or when I'm viewing content of what I really want to see, like, you know, what I really feel like, because I feel like so many people watch Twitch. I want to be able to stream on Twitch where like a family can come and watch me, with the exception of some music lyrics that come up on stream. But
Right.
you know, a lot of families watch me, and people come and they like the content there. So I always try to keep it positive on my side. But when you got to appeal to the other audience too. So a lot of people wanted to know how I felt about what happened, everything like that. So I created myself a show where I could show that side, and it can be directed pretty much for those people. Like I warned them, I'm like, hey, this is going to go into some graphic stuff. You know, make sure you put your kids to bed. Here's how I really feel. So I was able to create two different sides of content without losing viewers on either side right now. And I'm actually growing on YouTube more now because of that. So
Yeah, the YouTube stuff is very raw. For anybody that wants to go over there and check those out, I want to give you a huge shout out real quick. Guys, it's at Maddens with a Z, Players with a Z. That is the Twitter. The Twitch is MaddensPlayers, both with S's. So get over there and check those out. YouTube is the same exact thing. Get over there, check out some of the stuff. It's very entertaining. MP, before we go on, though, I've got to take a quick break, and we've got to go over one of our sponsors. Now, our first sponsor, and I forgot to pull my notes up again, is going to be Space Tradr, guys. Space Tradr is a place for you to go over to and share your ideas with other like-minded people. In fact, it's a lot of what we were talking about earlier with what League Crawler wants to do as it's working with content creators. And that is, if you have something you can offer me and I have something I can offer you, can we work together to grow our business? That is what Space Tradr is all about. Spacetradr.com. Get over there, check it out. If you have a business and you would like to continue to grow that, there are people over there that might be able to help you out that you didn't even know about. Spacetradr.com. MP, getting back into the Madden game. You're not doing franchise this year. You are doing a little bit of MUT. You're doing some of the head-to-head stuff. You said you had the classic where it's just team against team. Where do you see your enjoyment coming from the most, though, in the Madden game at the moment?
Well, at the moment, right now, I actually kind of enjoyed MUT this year. Like I always thought I'd hate it because I was never a MUT person. I didn't like the idea. I did like it when it first came out, but when it started being about a lot of the money, I was like, I don't want to do that. But then this year, when I did it, and it's pretty much what I was doing for the first part of Madden, I won't lie, it was kind of fun because I didn't have to be on someone's schedule. I can just log in when I wanted and played. So it was kind of different. But I won't lie, like the most fun I've ever had playing Madden was when I ran leagues. That was the most fun. On my side, it took the most time. I did a lot of banners. I did a lot of promos. I got a lot of sponsors during the time. So we were really like doing a lot of things. So, I mean, my heart will always be with CFMs. I always thought that was going to be a future at some point for Madden and stuff. But honestly, I did enjoy MUT once I got to learn how the process worked. So,
got you. Now, a reason that a lot of people that are in franchise mode don't like MUT is because they're like, MUT gets all the love because they get all the money. But this year they didn't really get a lot of upgrades. Am I right or am I wrong with that?
I feel you're right because a lot of the prizes and a lot of the stuff that normally has happened the past 3 years is a lot lower. If anyone follows Joke on Madden, you'll see he tweets that all the time. Like, we're still waiting to hear news about a lot of the things. But yeah, as a CFN player, I used to think the same thing all the time. Like, why do they get so much love? Is it because they generate so much money? But if you actually sit, this is an interesting fact. You can probably look this up, I'm sure. If you average out how many more people play franchise mode compared to MUT mode, there's more people playing franchise than there is MUT.
Right.
So, and the reason I say that is a lot of the time what's happening, and the reason I feel they put a lot more stuff in the CFMs is MUT people, or a lot of the pros that you see, are starting to create their own leagues and do their own stuff. But I believe, and this is just what I'm thinking that's going to happen, is they're going to develop CFMs to be like MUT, have a different mode in there. Because, like I said, you'll see a lot of the pro players do actually play in leagues now too. So,
right.
So, but yeah, I definitely felt that way as a CFM player when I wasn't playing MUT. But they're definitely two different worlds.
Yeah, no, it's something as a Madden gamer myself. To me, and I know that I get some criticism sometimes. Some of even the guys in my own community are like, "You give this game too much love," and I do, man. Like, my opinion, this Madden is the best version I've ever played. Is franchise mode exactly where I want it? No. Is there still some wonky stuff that happens on the field? Yeah, but I can pull up videos from Madden 98 that had glitches as well. Like, no game has ever come out that's been perfect, and I am thoroughly enjoying this game.
100%. Exactly. I always try and tell people, no matter what, the game will never be perfect, but you just got to enjoy what you have, and that's just how I've always taken it. Like, of course, I don't want to fumble all the time, or of course I don't want, my person to go certain ways, or when I throw, to coverages, I don't want the ball to bounce around. But W said this in one of his podcasts. That's what makes the game fun also, is those random moments when, it's only bad when it doesn't go your way.
Yeah, but isn't the football like that as well
exactly.
in real life? Like don't balls kind of bounce? Don't you hear coaches saying all the time, like, you got to get the 50-50 balls? Like that's the game of Madden.
Exactly.
That's the football though as well. So I don't understand the criticism for some
that's
of that.
That's what I always tell people too, is I like the unpredictability sometimes of just something wild happening. That's what makes the game fun. When you're watching a stream, you can see a touchdown all day. It doesn't matter. But when you see something wild happen, someone get hit sticks and the ball flies somewhere. Back in the day, the old people remember when you would get hit stick, your helmet would fly off and the ambulance would come out. Or like it would,
Yep.
A lot of the other stuff that would happen made the game fun. And I feel if you ever build a perfect game, you're not going to want, no one will play it. So.
No, that's very true. Now, you mentioned something in your latest video on YouTube, and I want to get your definition of what this is, and I want to get your thoughts on this term. What is an underground streamer?
So I kind of developed that term. I don't know if I want to say myself. It's probably been said before, but it's the community that doesn't get enough love because of the top streamers. And I did a podcast before this one that got a lot of heat for how I said it or how I phrased it. But it was when you go, when you see like Madden Live, or you go to their streams and you see the names that are always on Madden Live, they're always the same names almost, and they're almost with the same network. It's pretty much how it's been the past few months. And so what I started to do, the whole reason I started the Positive Vibe movement, was I went into other streams that people didn't go into. And when I liked them, I would just tweet them out, like, go check this guy out. Like, just random people that I would stop by, I talk to. And those are what I call the underground streamers, because they're the ones that just stream because they love streaming. They're not trying to make millions of dollars. They're not trying to make it life. They just enjoy the 5 to 10 people in their stream. So when I say underground streamer, that's what I'm talking about, is they have the fight and the will and the enjoyment, and they don't need 2,000 people there, That's what underground streamer is to me.
It's a great topic for you, and we're gonna come right back to this topic, and I do got to go into our next sponsor, and it's a great transition out of this. Guys, if you are somebody that you enjoy doing content, if you are somebody that you enjoy doing streaming, you want your stuff noticed, head over to shattercreations.com. That's with a Z.com, and they are guys that are going to help you create your own emblem, create your own logo. They're going to help you create your own overlays. They'll help you with intro videos, outro videos. They'll help you with editing techniques. Anything that you need as a streamer, they can help you from the very start if you know nothing all the way to the top guys out there. And that is shattercreations.com. If you tell them that League Crawler sent you, they will give you 20% off. Getting back into content, MP, the reason that I enjoyed this and I was really looking forward to this interview is because I myself feel like I'm an underground streamer. For my league, I don't really put my, other than like Twitter and stuff, I don't really put my stuff really out there, but I create my own overlay. I have my game is centered, but towards the right, like for my franchise, I have like all my storylines for my season, quotes from players. Like I try to make it very interactive. But you're right. I don't do that because I want to become some pro. I do it because I love the game of Madden. What are some ways that guys like me or guys like what you're doing, how can we become more of a unit and get more people involved so that the love of doing content isn't overshadowed by the money that comes with it?
That's a good question, because this is I've kind of learned. I learned a lot of stuff this year, and one of those was so like you're doing your own content and you're there and you're enjoying it. One thing I've always taken for granted, and I've had to grow, is go to other channels and get involved with them. Like you run your league, and there's other people that run theirs, like with the league crawler and everything. Go check them out and go support them, because in return, it's a chain reaction. They'll start talking about stuff or whatever, and they'll be like, "Oh, you stream? Oh, you got leagues? Well, let's do this." And they'll start talking about crazy ideas. Some will work and some won't. But then your viewership will go up, your notoriety will go up, and that's how you'll get people there. As long as you work it, try to establish with other leagues also and encourage them, because I'll be honest, I've seen a lot of leagues where people try and they'll like bash other people, and then their leagues fail or their content fails, because what people don't realize is when you go to streams, if you're positive in them and you do it and people talk to you, they're going to go to your streams too. And then that's where you're going to get a lot of your notoriety, and a lot of it's going to pay off because people are going to be there to watch you and what content you create. So
right now, one of the things that you just mentioned is very, very true, and that is how leagues typically work together. Now, I do get a sense as I talk to different commissioners that is changing, but I didn't even know that the Madden community, in quotations, even existed up until about a year ago. I didn't know that there were all these different franchises. For what we were doing, we're a league that's 5 years in now, but 4 years after that is when I finally got introduced to, there's a whole world of people doing these kind of things, right? And one of the things that I noticed very quickly is there is a lot of competitive commissioners out there that want their leagues to be the best. How can you be that kind of competitive commissioner while also getting behind this idea of we should all be working together?
That's a very good question. And as I learned when I was a commissioner, when I first started, I wanted everyone in my league and no one in anyone else's. I was like, nah, my league's the best, forget theirs. But here's what I learned is I started being in other people's leagues. Like I'd run mine and then I'd be in like 2 others. And I would see how they would run it. I'd be like, yes, I like that. No, I don't. But I'd always be in like 1 other league or 2 other leagues than mine and get to know the people and their feeling and stuff. And then just like word of mouth spreads. Like, MaddensPlayerz League, he runs one. It's really good. I met him in so-and-so's league. So to branch out and be in other leagues than just your own is always a better way. Rather than just doing your own league and forget everyone else, like run your league and maybe join one random one for a season. Don't have to be long, right? See how they run it. See if, you can take something from it. Ask a commissioner their thoughts. Some commissioners might tell you they're never, like to forget it, don't talk to me. And others might be like, hey, that's a good idea, or, pick your brain. But that's how I grew mine is I learned from others, from what I liked in others and what I didn't. And from that, when their league folded and they knew that I ran one, they came over and we were all good. So,
yep.
But one thing I want to say too is I've always told someone, make sure you run your league your way. Like my personal opinion is I see a lot of leagues that, like I said, have like the head honcho, have 3 others. And me personally, I never liked that. I always liked doing it my way. But recently, there has been a lot of people that have like that system. But I always tell people, make sure it's the league that you want and not what someone else's wants, or else that league eventually will fold, because every time you log in, you're not going to like it.
See, this is where we can have a very interesting conversation, because this is kind of what I was hoping for, is that we would find something where we were on different sides of the fence, because that's kind of where SPA is, and that's the league that I run. When we first started, we came from a league that only had one commissioner, and he was like, "This is what it's going to be." And I love Tom to death, and I don't know if Tom even listens to this, but Tom is an amazing guy. I love him to death. But it was his way or the highway, and his league was going to go however he wanted it to go. So when we created our, and they were, "Do you mind running this?" I was like, "I'll do it." But I had such a bad experience with what it was before. I'll only do it if we have a division rep for every division. So 8 division reps, and
Right.
You guys all vote. And if you ever have a tie vote, then I'll cast my vote and I'll be the tie-breaking vote. But I don't want any of that power, right?
Right.
And so that's how I approached it, because of the experience that I had.
But watch this. So here's what I learned how to deal with that. Because I had a lot of people say, "What? It's just your way?" But it's not, because this is how I voted on trades, and it's been back and forth how people did it. Everyone gets a vote. If 8 or more people disagreed, or it was 9 or 10 or whatever I had the number at, it was vetoed. If not that many people, agreed or whatever, then it went through. So though I ran it my way, everything that went on, everyone had a say. So technically, in every division, someone wanted to speak up or say something or do something, where everyone was vocal, where, yeah, I got the final say on it, but like the way the rules were, the way we did stuff, everyone had a voice, instead of, like, say you go into a league and you're the new cat, right? A lot of the times in mini leagues, you don't really get to voice an opinion yet because you're new.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas in mine, if you came in and you didn't like a trade that just happened, you could be vocal about it, and I'd be like, "Hey, now you're here. Now the next time a trade comes up, you can vote yes or no. You have a say right away." So even though, yeah, I ran it my way, I still had that in there where you could have your say.
Right, and that builds a lot of trust with the people behind you, and I think you can do that with both ones. I think people that see somebody that's willing to have power. And I think that's where we both kind of agreed with it, is we were willing to take power as long as people understood that they had a voice. So it's a very similar concept, but two different ways of going about it. That's
exactly
very interesting. One of the things that you mentioned earlier was there was the classic, and the classic is taking teams that you can just show up and play as and just go, right? But you also mentioned the challenge, and I didn't want to get past that without asking it. What is the challenge?
So the challenge is, in Ultimate Team, it's the draft mode. So basically, you go into Ultimate Team mode, and then you'll see draft in the bottom right corner. And I want to say it's 21 rounds or 19 rounds, something like that. And you pick your players. But the thing that is kind of interesting is there's no abilities. So it's really like old school Madden. You're just picking your team, random playbook, and go. So I feel personally it takes a lot of skill to be able to be that diverse, to know multiple playbooks and setups and stuff. So I honestly thought I was going to hate the mode because I got so used to the abilities, which I'm not an abilities fanatic by any means. Mm-hmm. But when you play it without it, it just brings you back. But yeah, the challenge is basically draft champions mode in Ultimate Team.
Got it. Okay. Jumping back into your YouTube stuff. One of the other questions that you posed on your channel, and again, I wanted to get that voice out in other areas, is what is it that you consider good content? Because there's a lot of content out there, but what is good content?
So I touched on this a little bit earlier. Good content to everyone is different. So at first I always wanted to be like, what gets the most views, right? That used to be me. Like, well, pack openings get a lot of views. Let's do that, whatever. And we would bounce around, but the views never changed. And I always wondered, well, why? What am I doing wrong? you have to be happy with whatever you're doing. You know, when you see people open packs, if they're just sitting there staring at the screen being bored, it's not fun. But then when you get to the next person, if they're jumping around and having a good time and you can get into it, you know, that's good content. When you go to click on a channel or a video, you want to see that expression, that excitement punch through your screen, you know, and get to you. So when you're making content for YouTube or anything, make sure it's something you enjoy, because if you're just making it for the views and your heart isn't in it, you're not going to get the views you want. So good content to me is the content you personally want to create and see.
So you're going to notice that the reason that Matt even allows me to do this show is because I'm really good at transitions, right? And so the reason that I even asked you that question was because I wanted to transition to this question, and that is, what is MP's crib?
MP's crib? So what's funny is, okay, I'll kind of give a backstory in a way. There's a YouTube creator which everyone knows called Yamama. He always talks about stuff, and he does content that he just likes to make people laugh, or you know, he'll make fun of people. He literally has no limits, right? Like he doesn't care who you are, who he offends. That's just his style. I've known him for years. Well, I recently was, like I said, on another show, and he was talking about me, you know, making fun of me or whatever. So I was thinking of a way where I could create a content back that would kind of be funny in a way back at him. He's probably never seen it, but I wanted to also pay acknowledgement to people that come to my channel a lot as well. So, you know, just to have some fun. So, you know, I just created it where you would like walk in like you were in like a mansion, and I'd have random people either in a hot tub, jacuzzi, and then I had him in the back, you know, doing some things with some people, you know, just having fun with it and then getting back. So that way, you know, I could tell the people, you know, yeah, I heard what he said, but I'm not really worried about it. I'm going to do my thing. Thanks for hanging with me. That was kind of the premise behind MP Crib. I just wanted to see what it would do.
Okay, so I'm going to be honest. I went onto your page. I went through about 4 or 5 different videos. I forget where I stopped. Everything that you're putting out on all of your content is enjoyable content. So for anybody out there, again, I want to get what's going on over here, and I just left the page. That's twitch.tv/MaddensPlayers. Get over there and check out what he's doing game-wise. It's youtube.com/MaddensPlayers. And that's some stuff he's doing personal. And I want to tell you, MP, when I went over to your YouTube page and I went through some of these videos, I really enjoyed your real thoughts on stuff. But you are right. What you did with MP Crib, I thought was hilarious. Like I was like, this dude is trolling right now. Like this dude is having a lot of fun, and he's just doing his thing. Are there other things that you have like in your brain? You're like, well, those are things I wanted to try, but I really never did it because they could be a little bit silly, or people might think they're not funny. Like, are there things out there? Because that was genuinely funny.
Yeah. There's tons of stuff I want to do, and a lot of the reason I held back a lot, and I tell people this. I tell people this all the time. And like, it's great that you said I have good content. I appreciate it, because I always tell people I have the content, but not the eyes. If I get the eyes, the rest will follow. And it's starting to stack up that way. So when I do funny content like that, or I do serious content, I can balance the two and know when to be funny and then know when to be serious at the same time. So yeah, there's tons of stuff that I'm going to be working on. I'm actually creating something later this week where it's gameplay content for those that like to see juke moves and stuff. And then I also have how I'm going to feel about the tournament. They have another tournament that comes up, or how I feel about those competitors. Or I'm always going to have one show where this is MP's thoughts, another show where this is just MP having fun. So
okay, so before we get into getting out of here, right, because I mean it's been 40 minutes and this has been thoroughly enjoyable. I want to really get into who you are as a person, the things that you enjoy, because the whole reason that I wanted to come do this one with you is I want to promote who you are. I want to get behind the drive that you have for your own channel, and that's what League Crawler right now is all about. We want to get behind people that are passionate about the projects that they're doing and provide a voice and some eyes to those kind of things. So exactly what you just said, right? So let's get into who MP is, right? Who's your favorite team?
My favorite team is the Raiders.
The Raiders. How do you feel about what they're going through this offseason? Like, what do you think? Is Carr going to be the guy?
Carr is my favorite player of all time. So I think they'll
Really?
stick with him until something else comes along. But I've always told people this: he's a very good QB. He just needed weapons, and I think he proved it this year that he wasn't the problem, that the defense was. So yeah, favorite player is Carr. We'll see how their offseason goes.
Were the Raiders rumored to be involved in the J.J. Watt signing?
Were they what?
Rumored to be involved in potentially wanting J.J. Watt?
No, I don't think they were going to get him. I don't think they were going to get him. I think they want Sherman and all them more.
Richard Sherman. Okay, so I knew that somebody had said earlier that they were looking for some defensive players.
Yeah.
Okay, all right. Let's just go through some other stuff. What's your favorite food?
Favorite food, tacos.
Oh, I love tacos, man. I'm here in Arizona. We get tacos all the time. Favorite entertainment, TV or movie?
I like TV shows.
Okay, and who would be some of your favorite streamers?
Oh man, there's so many. Right now, my favorite streamer has to be Fendler. Fendler. He's on Madden Live a few times. He's in the OG network, but when you go to his channel, no matter what he streams Madden 99% of the time, but he has fun with it. He doesn't care. He doesn't like people talking bad about the game or anything. He just enjoys the game for itself, and it's everything I want to be in a streamer. So Fendler right now is my favorite streamer. But I also like Big Kev.
Okay, favorite.
Also,
Oh, okay. Any others?
you got Smee on the lower platform. We got who else do I always check out? Kelly Swag, he streams at night. Raider Life streams overnight. There's just so many. If everyone is on my Twitter, they'll see me talk to them and tweet them out all the time.
That's what's up, man. Favorite game other than that?
That's a hard one. I have to say any NHL game.
Oh, okay. So you're a big hockey guy. Who's your
I'm a
hockey
New York
team?
Ranger fan.
Okay. All right, man. MP, it was a thrill to have you on tonight, brother. I'm going to give you a minute or however long you need to kind of get whatever you want to the people out there. Can you tell them what you got going on?
Yeah. Hey, like I said, I stream right now. I stream on the weekend, twitch.tv/MaddensPlayers. Always stop by, say hi. I'm friendly. I'll chat with you. I'm one of those streamers that when I stream, I always look at my chat and make sure you guys are having a good time. And come over, check us out, see what we're about, and check out League Crawler too. I've known them a long time, good group of people. So don't just check me out, check them out as well.
MP, I appreciate having you on, man. And you definitely got a new fan in me. I've been over at your page. I'm signed up for your YouTube. I'm signed up for your Twitch. I'm following you on Twitter. I'm really excited to see what you got going on, man. Keep that grind alive. Have fun with what you're doing. And if you get frustrated, know that you got a platform to get on here and let the people know what's pissing you off.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
Have a great night, man. That was your League Crawler podcast for the week. We will see you next week.